Welcome everyone to a new Perpetual Futures DEX review, and today I wanted to talk about Hyperliquid. So this is a new Perpetual Futures DEX. It popped up in 2023, and so it's actually taken the Perpetual Futures DEX sort of ecosystem up another peg, because this place is a really good place to trade, and I would probably put it in the top 5 perpetual futures dexes out there. You know, it does rival DYDX, it rivals Vertex, it rivals Avo, and a bunch of other dexes out there, and it is for sure better than somewhere like GMX. And I don't think that is a controversial opinion if you've actually used Hyperliquid. So Hyperliquid has a ton of cool features that I'll cover in this video, but just getting started with Hyperliquid, it is its own layer 1 purpose-built blockchain using Tendermint. But if you want to get started with it, you're going to need to use something like MetaMask or Rabby, bridge some funds over to Arbitrum, and then from there you can deposit into Hyperliquid. And when it comes to collateral, you can deposit either like USDC or USDT. So that is a knock against it. I think they should use something like Ethereum as well. So I'll just show you a trade here. So I'm going to close out this CAS position. So I can close it by market or limit order, but I'll close it by market here, and I'll show you how fast it is. All right. And there we go. Sold. Just like that. And if I wanted to get back in, let me just mark it in and we'll try and buy as much as I can. There we go, buy long. And I'm back in. And another great thing about this is that you don't have to pay gas fees like you would on, say, GMX, for example. And that's like one big criticism I have of GMX, is just it's way too expensive to trade on there. And now that loads of other perpetual futures dexes have gone live, I think a lot of its market share has gone. So let's just take a look at some of the markets that you can trade on Hyperliquid. So if we just scroll down here, I'm just doing a quick scroll, but you've got a lot of markets you can actually trade. And you also have different categories. So we have ones that are DEX only. So, you know, your Rollbits, your Cantos, Unibot, Banana, Friendtech. So you can short Friendtech if you wanted to on Hyperliquid. And look at this, the spreads aren't that bad. It's something that I can really appreciate about Hyperliquid. You can go onto almost any market and just see like very low spreads. If I go into Banana, 0.57, and there's not that much volume or open interest in that market. We'll go NFT-Fi. So this is an index fund for basically the top 5 largest NFTs out there, and it's really cool that they launched something like this. And they have a small spread on that as well, which is, I don't know how they're doing this. Compared to basically most other perpetual futures dexes out there that list long tail assets, they've got the like tightest spreads, which is quite cool. We have a trading page. This pre-launch page is pretty cool as well. So you can trade tokens that aren't actually live yet. So for example, there is a lot of speculation that Layer 0 will do an airdrop at some point, and you can trade the value of the Layer 0 token even though it doesn't actually exist. Going over to other categories, we have most of the economically relevant Layer 1s, a couple of new ones as well that I'm not seeing a lot of other places list, like CAS, for example. I think Injective, Celestia, Sui, Say, 4chain is not a popular market for perpetual futures dexes, so I'm really glad that Hyperliquid will actually give you that market to trade, and with a small spread as well. You also have gaming, memes, and just general DeFi, and they are quick to add a lot of markets, so I really commend the Hyperliquid team for being able to do that. Now let's just take a look at the fees that Hyperliquid charges. So makers pay a flat 2.5 basis points fee, and makers receive a 0.2 basis points rebate. So just to compare this to like DYDX, for example, DYDX for taker fees is 0.05%. The 2.5 basis points is 0.025 for the taker fee. So you're paying half the fees that you would on, say, like DYDX. On DYDX, though, you are getting compensated with DYDX tokens depending on how many fees you generate, so you do have to take that into account as well. You may have seen this points tab up here on Hyperliquid. And so what they're doing is they are openly advertising an airdrop. If we go onto their Twitter, we can just see what's happening here. So basically they're distributing points over the next 6 months to users of Hyperliquid. And the more points that you accumulate, the larger the airdrop that you'll actually end up receiving. So 1 million points will be distributed weekly to Hyperliquid users for 6 months. The first distribution will take place on November 9th. So we're about a month into that program, and so you're not too late to get into this if you want. The points criteria will be updated on a recurring basis. For right now, I couldn't really find like what the points criteria was, but this is what I'm assuming. It's some sort of mixture of your open interest, your volume, and the fees generated in the platform. Of course, if you're seen to be wash trading, they'll probably take away any points that they would have given to you. So if you're opening up multiple like $1,000 positions and then closing them almost immediately, then they'll register that as like a wash trade. So like, don't bother doing that. Use this as like a proper perpetual futures DEX, as it is one of the best places to trade in crypto. So we can see here that they've only had about 16,000 users so far, and you'll be early to this airdrop. In comparison, right, Jupiter Aggregator, they had like 900,000 people, and this only has 15,000. If we just look at Hyperliquid on Twitter, they don't even have that many Twitter followers. So definitely go ahead and give Hyperliquid a try, start earning some points, and I think you'll like it as a perpetual futures DEX. Now, just to round off this video, I wanted to talk about some of the features that I really liked about Hyperliquid. Yeah, so first of all, lots of pairs. I can't even be bothered to count how many this is, but it feels like over 30. Right, so lots of pairs, lots of long tail pairs, and I really enjoyed the fact that they offer pre-launch token markets as well. That's great. Every perpetual futures DEX should do that, and I'm really glad that Hyperliquid is doing this. Also, you're able to leverage up to 20x leverage, so they're offering you high amounts of leverage here as well, which is pretty cool. Another thing that I like about Hyperliquid is the tight spreads. Basically, no matter what market you want to trade, the spreads are really tight. I mean, they might not have the thickest order books, but the spreads are tight at least. And in terms of things that I think Hyperliquid could improve on, I think just make it so that you can deposit onto Hyperliquid from anywhere. Just make it easier for people to use your perpetual futures DEX. Having to specifically go to Arbitrum might be annoying for some users, so just make it easier for everyone. And also allowing exotic collateral is something that I think Hyperliquid could improve upon. So let me use ETH as like base collateral there. You don't have to make it so that I can use like Aave's base collateral. I don't think that would be a very good idea, but just ETH. I know there might be some problems due to the fact that it's a separate layer 1, but I think it would be cool. I mean, you can use USDC, so why can't we use ETH? So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hyperliquid is a pretty chad perpetual futures DEX, and you should definitely go ahead and check it out.